Yeah, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics, episode 9. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Joe Pasalacqua. Today, we're going to be talking accountability.
My favorite.
We talked about it on a previous episode, our 3 components of success: fitness, nutrition, accountability. And so we wanted to kind of do an episode on how we do accountability at the gyms, and I'll let you kind of get started on this, Joe. Not only is it one of our 3 components of success, so how do we help people be successful, but it's one of our core values as a business. So we have 6 core values, and the first one is accountability.
Well, it's the most intricate part of the whole program.
Yeah.
Right? Like we talk about this on a weekly basis. Is when you think of a gym, 99% of the time, what do people think about? Like, oh, I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to sweat. I'm going to lift weights.
Yeah.
Right. So when you take that, it's like every gym is the same when it comes to that.
Right.
I don't care if it's a yoga studio, if it's a CrossFit gym, if it's Lifetime Fitness, if it's Equinox, if it's, Anytime, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. The outside in perspective is come exercise and sweat and you're going to feel great. Right. Like that's kind of the whole concept of gym.
Yeah.
Right. So why our program wraps so well is like, okay, do I think our fitness program is great?
Yeah,
And you'll
of
agree.
course.
Like, I think our fitness program is better than the majority of the places
Sure.
because of what we do. But what wraps the whole program is the accountability, because we'll touch on this more, but what's our life expectancy of a client? So how many months do people stay here comparative to what someone stays at an Orange Theory?
Yeah. So like, great example is we have a guy who works for us, Kevin at Denville, who was from an Orange Theory. And he said the average client lifetime there was like 3 months. And for us, depending on the gym, it's 1.2 to 1.5 years.
Yeah. So let's just say an average of 1.3 years. Okay. That's like a ridiculous above industry standard.
Blows the
because the
industry
industry standard is 2 months.
Yeah.
Right. It's very, very low. So what do we say? Like, what makes that happen? And it's the accountability,
Yeah.
right? Because of what we do is like, if you're a client at one of our locations, you understand that you get text messages from us on a weekly basis.
Yep.
It comes directly from the GM.
Yep.
If you don't show up, you get a text message like, hey, where have you been?
Yep.
We want people to use their passes. So if you're on a 2, 3, 4 unlimited membership, we want you to show up. And if you're not going to show up, we're going to call you and text you until you come in.
Yeah.
Right? We want to know what the issue is. How many memberships have re-stimulated people because of just reaching out to
It
people?
happens all the time. We were talking before we got on the microphones. It's tough because, you look at a lot of other gyms, and we said when it comes to our 3 components of success: fitness, nutrition, accountability, most gyms, if not all gyms, do 1, maybe 2 of those things, right? And a lot of people will do nutrition, but they'll charge you more for it, right? Where it's wrapped into our beginners program and it's included in our memberships for the people who want to take advantage of it. But the accountability doesn't go beyond, we were saying how like every gym is like, oh, we have such a great community. Every gym says that. Every single one. Right.
Oh, our community is the best. Come to our night out.
Right.
Oh my God, our community is the best.
And we think our community is the
and
best,
I think so too.
but everyone thinks that.
Exactly.
In a big gym, big box gym, your Planet Fitness, your LA Fitness, they actually don't want people to show up. That's the whole.
No, the model
business
is
model.
absentee memberships, right? I told you I have a friend who owns those Crunch Fitnesses in Freehold area.
Yes.
Central
they told me
Jersey.
that, yeah.
He has like 20,000 members.
Right.
Their daily capacity is like at one time is like 350.
Right.
Right. It's like people don't go.
Right.
They don't show up. Right. And that's that model.
Yeah.
Our model is very different. It's the complete opposite of that. Is we want you to come in. How many gyms have you worked at?
Yeah.
Right. In the past? Or it's like, I'm even guilty of this too when we first started.
For sure.
Of like, oh my God, this person hasn't been in 3 months. If I call them, I'm afraid they're going to cancel.
Right.
But we want people to come in because we want them to like be incorporated and mixed into what we're doing, so they do get the results that they want.
Well, yeah, and that's the
If
other.
they don't show up, they don't get the results.
Right. And this, like you said, the business model of our gym and frankly, any other gym that like a CrossFit gym or any other gym that falls into that model is based on people showing up.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's like for the gyms that are less successful, or it might just be laziness, right? They might be like, maybe not laziness, but they have so many things going on. They're like, I can't worry about the people.
Because they don't
here.
look at the accountability as a necessity.
Right.
If I were to start all over again, day one, open a new gym,
Yeah.
the whole gym would be based around the accountability first.
100%.
I wouldn't care about anything else.
Yeah.
There'd be less effort in everything except the accountability, because the accountability is how people continuously show up over and over.
Yes. Because if they keep showing up, they're going to get results.
Yeah, exactly.
And so in terms of what accountability looks like for us, right? So it's multifaceted. And so it's really, like you said, making sure people are coming in, they're using your visits, but we have multiple ways to keep people on a routine because well, before I get into that, staying on a routine and staying accountable for a lot of people is hard. It's not easy,
It's
right?
very difficult.
For people who don't eat, sleep, and breathe fitness, it's a behavior change.
Well, we just talked about this week. The amount of people that live a zero fitness.
Oh yes,
we just talked about this.
You sent me the video. Yeah,
Okay.
I think the video you sent me, the guy was like 79% of Americans actually do zero exercise.
Zero exercise.
Yeah.
Zero. So my point is, you can get a lot of people to just come try working out.
Yeah.
Like just like we're like, hey, come show up.
Well, but that's
Right.
why like the January thing is a huge thing. Everyone comes in and then they stop, and it's like
January is actually not a busy month for us.
no.
Right? It's like that whole thing. It's like, but those gyms emphasize get your year started and
Yeah.
here's a special on this, but they just get you to sign up and they know you're never fucking going to come in anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so being accountable to us is being consistent, right? And so making sure you're consistent. And the ways we do that is we have multiple ways. So obviously, I know we harped on, every gym says it, but we do have tight knit communities at our gym. So we have our community events. We have, we talked about, I think on a previous episode, the number of people who have become members at our gyms. They were single. All of a sudden they're getting married.
Yeah, of course.
I was
a
at
lot of that.
I was at Roseland yesterday talking to a woman there who's Kristen Seaston.
Yeah.
Poor Kristen walks in. She looks dejected.
Yeah,
because-
she's 40 weeks pregnant.
yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know when this is coming out, but she came into the gym and I was like, when's the baby coming? She was like, supposed to be today. But there's so many people in that community that are pregnant who have met their spouse at the
Yeah.
gym. So the community is super tight. And I do think that that's something that a lot of gyms tout, but I know we're at least one of the communities that can tout that. You mentioned our weekly check-in. So when someone comes into our 6-week challenge, every week they're getting a text message from our general manager.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, we have what we call our SOS list, right? So if someone hasn't been in for 2 to 4 weeks, they're getting a text message from our general manager. How are things going? Is everything okay? Where have you been? You know what I mean? Trying to keep people on track. We have our community events. So we do 2 seminars a year, 2 internal challenges a year, 1 community fundraiser a year, and fun events to help keep people on track. Our internal challenges. I was talking to Shannon about this the other day because, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but she has over 70 people in her internal challenge right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's insane. And I said to her, I was like, we include all this stuff in our membership, but people still need that internal challenge because it rejiggers them, right? We're fitness people, and how many times have we fallen off?
No, dude, you do it's like a normal every quarter, every 6 months, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You got to reset mentally. People, you're busy. You got stuff going on.
Yeah.
We're not 25 anymore.
Right.
Man,
to be 25 again.
to live again. The point of this entire episode right now is for people to understand that the accountability piece is, if not or equal to, just as important to the other tiers of nutrition and the actual fitness piece.
Yes.
Right? Because you hold yourself accountable. It doesn't matter what it is in your life that if you're trying to accomplish something, you need something to be held accountable with.
Yeah. And so that's why we have it so built into our structure because, what we do in the gym is important. Eating right is important, but you need someone, especially if you're new, to keep you accountable to those things. And you have people who are your general managers who know you really well to see what works best to help you stay accountable.
Yeah, because even though it's not personal training, there's a
personal relationship.
with everyone in the gym where you want to know, hey, what is this individual's goal? A lot of people are quiet and shy, but it's like when you do think comfortability is a big factor,
Sure.
especially in this type of environment in this gym.
Well, and that's something I've had people say that is different about our gyms. We have a guy who coaches at Roseland who originally was a member. I sold him. And he later down the line, he said, he goes, Chris, you actually sold me in the first 2 minutes of our consultation. I was like, really? He goes, yeah, because the first thing you asked me is what brings you in today? What is your goal? He's like, I was at 2 different CrossFit gyms before walking into Roseland. Not one person asked me what my goal was.
Yeah.
And that's an accountability piece.
It's because people emphasize the fitness as the only thing that matters,
Right.
but there's so much more to it than just coming in and exercising. People phase out, people get bored,
Yeah.
right? So the accountability stuff keeps you on track on a goal, whether it's to lift a little bit or to lose a little bit more weight. The accountability overpowers the other two things because it
100%.
what keeps you on track for whether it's a weight loss goal, whether
Mhm.
it's just feeling good or it's a
Mhm.
fitness improvement. That's the whole point of it. And that's why it's such a major part of our success is the accountability, the whole
Right,
program of it.
right, and like you said, we have all those measures, internal challenges, email newsletters, handwritten cards, the text messages, all that stuff to keep people on track. So if you're someone who's a member at one of our gyms and you feel like you're kind of falling off, don't hesitate to reach out to your general manager. And if you're someone at a different gym, and I can guarantee you they're not doing this stuff,
Ask them,
ask them.
what do you do to keep me here besides exercise?
Yeah, it's
And you
like-
smiling at me.
Yeah, it's like, or if you're like, hey, I'm really struggling, they might say like, oh, you got to get in. It's like, okay, how is that helping me stay accountable? So yeah, if you're someone who's not a member at our gym, I would put their feet to the fire.
Kind of ended it with this is if you are the type of person, and I am like this as well. If someone just says to you 99% of the time is like, well, why don't you just do it? And you don't, it's because you haven't fucking done it for a substantial amount of time.
Right.
So someone just telling you that is not going to all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm just going to do that.
Right.
They're like, oh, why don't you just go lose weight? I'm like, oh, well, if it was that easy, I would just go do it.
Right.
It's like, if I was just going to eat right, or I was just going to show up 3 days a week, why wouldn't I have done that by now?
Right, exactly.
Because people struggle with consistency and they need their handheld for way longer than what they actually think.
100%. So yeah, hopefully that provided some insight into why accountability is so important for us. If you like this podcast, guys, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, and we'll see you next time.
Apple Podcast, huh?
I don't know.
Big things.
Just throw that in there.